So it's time for my review of patch 8.1 Tides of Vengeance. But don't worry, the floating tree of Borealis, which I reported early alpha for Battle for Azeroth, is still around in patch 8.1. Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface with my review of patch 8.1. Is this the patch which turns Battle for Azeroth around? Is this the patch which actually can bring people back into the game? Or is this the patch which patches what should have been in the game? Well, let's just get straight into it because I'm being snappy with this one. New main storyline quests are being added in the expansion, and having gone through quite a bit of them, they have been, for the most part, very enjoyable. I'm really pleased that Blizzard actually made the right decision in the Horde one and gave players a choice to either follow Sylvanas or to follow Saurfang. It was a nuance that was required. I'm glad they listened. As regards to how Blizzard are going to provide you this storyline is unknown as yet. Unlike Darkshore, where you can do it all in one clump, it looks like this is going to be time-gated and only proportions of the story fed to you at certain times. That, of course, has absolutely got to be confirmed as yet, but that is what it appears to be after some digging into the files by some various websites. So hopefully that won't detract from the fact that this story has actually been pretty well told. As regards to whether or not it really enforces the battle between the two factions, the Horde and the Alliance in this expansion, I'm not sure that it does that, but as a separate entity, they are highly enjoyable. Well, the Horde one at least. The Alliance one is bugged as of filming, and therefore I hope that it's not bugged when it actually releases tomorrow. I could only go partway through that story. Thaumaturge Vashreen makes return, being plonked, literally, next to the rest of the Ethereals. And if you speak to him, then at least you're going to have a modicum of control over the Azerite piece of gear that you purchase. Any Azerite armor which you acquire in 8.1, you can scrap or disenchant, and you'll get yourself some of these Titan residuum. And then you'll be able to pick out the specific piece of armor that you want, and they all come at different prices, bearing in mind the actual item level of the piece itself. This is the PTR that I'm doing the filming on, so things like this are subject to change, but currently the 355 stuff is really, really low. So if you have something, take it over to the scrapper, dump it in, see if you get any of the stuff. I got three. Awesome. All I need now is to scrap another 300 pieces, and I'll be able to afford 385. There are 2 new islands which have been added to the island expeditions themselves. However, there's nothing different about them. There are a different way or two of actually collecting the Azerite, but the system itself remains the same. There's nothing here that I can particularly get back into. Just because there's a couple of other islands doesn't therefore stimulate me to do the island expeditions. There has to be much more. I think island expeditions are a trick seriously missed by Blizzard. I was very excited about these in the beta testing for 8.0, and then they turned out to be nothing more than just Azerite grind. One thing that they did get right was the addition of the doubloon vendor. Now you can actually use your doubloons to buy yourself reputation tokens, some transmog hats, some pets, some toys, and a couple of different mounts. There was just the one, but they've now added a second one, an albatross worth 1,000 doubloons. Now, this again should have been implemented just a couple of weeks after 8.0, after it was seriously required, but they didn't. They've decided to wait and bring it into patch 8.1. So do I feel motivated to go and do the island expeditions to get the 1,000 doubloons? No, because the island expedition content themselves is so dull. There's no variation. There's lots of islands, no variation. And that is what island expeditions desperately need. This backward thinking has been plaguing World of Warcraft for a while now. There's also the Numreg and Pet Battle Dungeon. You literally couldn't pay me money. But for you pet battle enthusiasts out there, just go to your respective pet store in Boralus or in Dazar'alor, and you'll be able to pick up the starting quest line, which will take you over there. Have fun. Enjoy. It'll be awesome. Then we have the assaults. So assaults are essentially a dubbed-down version of the Legion invasion. There'll be a pocket area getting assaulted. There'll be various little world quests here, and you have to complete 4 to start with. After you've done the 4 quests, you'll then be charged with doing the main ending, taking out the Horde gunship. The quests themselves were mundane, the regular things that you would expect. Kill X amount of these, blow up Y amount of those. And unfortunately, there's very little actual challenge to them either, so you don't ever feel under threat, or if you're in danger, or that you might actually fail the assault and there could be some consequences as a result of that. No, everything is very simple, by the book, and particularly non-engaging. And when you're on the gunship, it's just fill a bar, kill a dude. That's it. It's really real basic. Probably a good word to sum up Battle for Azeroth. Basic. And when that's done, pew, 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 pew. Done. Dusted. And over. But you might think I'm being a little bit too harsh on the assault. I mean, after all, they did manage to put a couple of fires in Boralus. Everything else seems fine. Yeah, everything else seems fine. No consequences. No consequences whatsoever. Don't worry. I'm sure they'll be back in a few days to try again. One ray of light, or is it Moonbeam, in 8.1 itself is the art department's revamping of Darkshore. Just look at that. Doesn't that look absolutely superb? Darkshore, day or night, is Darkshore. And to unlock this, you have to go through a pretty short but sweet storyline quest line, whether or not you're Horde or Alliance. And it sets up the zone really well indeed, with there being tweaks and changes to the actual Darkshore place itself as the Horde starts to camp in, and other areas have been complete and utterly wiped out. It's just such a shame that all it leads to is the Darkshore warfront. Because I'm not mincing my words, warfronts are just shit. And the Darkshore warfront doesn't do anything different to change that mentality. It doesn't feel like you can lose. Yes, they've added a couple of aerial or vehicular areas into it, but it still doesn't make them exciting or fun. There's no thrill to be had with it at all. The only positivity I can take from the warfront themselves is the fact that there are a couple of transmog sets to go for the Horde and for the Alliance. Other than that, even the gear isn't going to change. So that advantage that the Horde got, that substantial advantage at the beginning of Battle for Azeroth, it's going to remain in effect, because when the Alliance take over and they do the warfront, all they're going to be rewarded with is 340 item level stuff and 370 for doing the quest. The item levels aren't going to change until the raid hits in January. Oh, dearie me. I can just imagine the backlash that Blizzard are going to get from people in the community who are unaware of these tweaks and wondering why on earth they are doing new content with the same item level of reward. But hey, with all that said, at least I can look at this and say, art department, once again, you do a spectacular job. It's just such a shame you're not being supported by your content department. World questing remains identical. All that's going to happen is that the reward system is going to start to scale up. But not right now. In actual fact, none of the scaling is actually going to take place until the raid hits. So things like the Darkshore warfront, world questing, item gathering, it's all going to remain at base levels that it is right now. And so you have to ask yourself, again, what was even the point of doing it? When you're releasing a brand new patch, people want to see development. They want to see evolution. But when you have to do the content and get the same item level of rewards that you get currently, that's probably just going to frustrate the audience even more. We have to wait for the raiders to get their raid before anyone can do anything. The story of this expansion's not about players. This expansion is catering for your esports audience, your Mythic Plus Dungeoneers, your Mythic Raiders, your PvPers. There's nothing here for the average player to get involved with, sink some time into, get their teeth into. It's so mismanaged. The only thing that currently doesn't seem to be hit by the item level scaling to go alongside when the raid releases is the emissary missions. Here you can actually get a 365 goodie bag by doing something, which has got a ring in. So at least there's some potential for upgrades, but absolutely minimal right now. Not until the raid comes out. Professions have new recipes, but so what? The actual profession system itself is so terrible right now that it just feels like a waste of time. Professions need to be gutted from the absolute core. They need to be made worthwhile. They need to be made time-consuming and rewarding at the same time. They need to become a long-form piece of content. But right for now, they're just another thing to ignore for the most part, while Titan Forging and War Forging would do all the necessary things that you need when it comes to gear. So this has been getting a little bit depressing. Let's get a little bit more positivity going. A couple new storylines have been added as regards to heritage armor. Both the Blood Elves and the Dwarves for the Alliance have each got their own individual heritage armor stories. And I've done the Sindorai one. Found it very interesting indeed, resulting in this awesome armor set. As a result of that, there has been some kickback as regards to the armor set for the Dwarves, but I think it looks pretty damn good. Not earth-shattering stuff, but there were some really interesting pieces of lore that you were given during the storyline, which may fill in some gaps for some people, and I think it was structured very well indeed. Lasted approximately half an hour each, but enjoyable stuff. Enjoyable stuff, and that is one thing that I will make sure to do, because Tony needs to look like that when patch 8.1 hits. There is, of course, new raids coming. Battle for Dazar'alor, I think I got it right, is going to be the main one hitting early next year. And of course, none of the item level increases are going to come until that arrives. But although I didn't participate in the raid testing, I have to say with relative confidence that the raid will bring enjoyment for raiders. I've heard no kickback to it. I've heard nothing negative about the raid. I know it's structured differently, with the Horde and the Alliance starting at different points, even though you will eventually do all the same bosses, just in a slightly different order. But if you're a raider, you've got more stuff to do. If you're not a raider, tough shit. And of course, there will be the Old God raid coming later, or the Old God-ish raid, with just a couple of bosses. As regards to when that's going to drop, not sure yet. We're going to have to do a completely separate video as regards to content for that, but it's ways off. And that, of course, is even before we've got round to 8.2 stuff. So Battle for Dazara Law will be the main raid in patch 8.1. So a couple of other things of note. There's going to be an extra ring added to Azerite armor at some point. Whoop-de-doo. Also, there's another affix for Mythic plus Dungeoneers to get their teeth into as well, if that's your sort of thing. But apart from that, you've just got your regular bunch of class changes, tweaks. Also, Azerite armor abilities have also been tweaked and changed as well. Nothing physically content-wise. So overall, what do I score patch 8.1? Well, I can't give patch 8.1 more than a 3.5 out of 10. And that might seem really harsh, but I'll tell you for why I can't go any higher. The only thing of real substance that patch 8.1 brings to the game is the raid. And if you're not a raider, you have little to nothing to compensate you in this patch. Things that have been brought in, like the changes to the doubloon system and also to the Azerite armor system having more control over what piece you get, they should have been in immediately from the get-go. The Paragon system with the reputations, if that is your sort of thing, should have been in immediately from the get-go. You don't get marked up by having things that should be there. And the reason for the 3.5 score is for the storylines and the heritage armor and for the raid. But the assaults are dull. The assaults feel like really dubbed down versions of Legion invasions. The world quests are not being changed or tweaked or altered whatsoever. So if you're bored with them, you're going to get no satisfaction. All that Blizzard are doing are going to raise the item level of the rewards when the raid actually arrives. The warfront is just garbage. Darkshore is just another Arathi. Fly round, kill some rares, try and get them out, move on. There is no long-form content. There is no investment here with this patch. Look, even my character's got so bored he sat down. Come on, chum. Get your ass back into gear. And even if Darkshore brings in a couple of world quests as well, whoop-de-doo, world questing, who could care at all? This game is in desperate need of things for people to invest their time and effort into, and everything other than raiding is just disposable. Absolutely disposable. The changes to the profession system, just a waste of time. The profession system needs a complete overhaul. Your gear's going to be changed with warforging and the scaling up from the world quests and from the emissaries. It's just a waste of time. This game is in trouble. And 8.1 isn't going to fix anything. If you left in 8.0, there's nothing for you to come back to here. 8.2 is going to be the make and break. And I will discuss 8.2 at a later date with what has been announced so far. But 8.1, you know, you're going to get a week of enjoyment out of it. And I say enjoyment in inverted commas. Maybe a week or so. The storylines are going to be either time-gated or through in next to no time whatsoever. And then before you know it, you're going to be in your standard. Do I do world quests? Do I do my emissaries? And apart from that, your typical Mythic Plus, raiding, or PvP. This patch is not good at all. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do get a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links there in the description box down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.